So, hello there. I'm today together with Aida, and we are going to talk about our second startup in company, which is called Plenum. And for the start, Maida, maybe you could uh, tell us more what is Plenum exactly.
Yeah, I will try to be short, and I think that people will know what is Plenum while watching this podcast. But like, long story short, Plenum is. It's always hard to explain to people, but it's like independent newspaper platform for authors, and it's like space for people to write about anything they want from anywhere at any time. And the idea from the beginning, it was like to allow authors to write without any political, cultural, religious influence. Like, authors should be free to write about anything she or he or they want. And later on, after idea was implemented, somehow we, in the meantime, put focus on students, and that's pretty much it. About like, I hope that I explain it very well, and I hope that I know that we will explain it more while talking about the whole process of Plenum from the start and till this moment. But before talking about Plenum, we should know some background.
Yeah,
And
background behind that one. Yeah, so as you mentioned, we are trying we already built most of it, some kind of let's say digital platform, which is a mix of standard news portal, mix of social media, mix of content creator platform where we want to let's say shape some kind of different reality. As today in the world we see the main problem is with the media and the title mainstream media, which they are being, let's say, moved in a direction which some of let's say people want to create media reality. We want to change that one by this platform where we will somehow provide a platform that is a freelance content creator journalist platform where we are going to offer authors a possibility that they express themselves through various categories
yeah.
which we have. And how we basically came to this idea, it was, I think, 2012 or 2013. I was supporting my local football club from Bihać Jedinstvo, and we lost like 3-0, and we were stolen by the referee there hardly. And when I was coming back home, I was thinking where I could basically put this news, to whom could I write this kind of, let's say, stealing in football, that it will be publicly announced. And I couldn't figure out where I could be putting this one. And I was thinking, if I post it on social media, let's say if I have a, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, whatever account, the reach would be 100 people. So I wouldn't, let's say, achieve nothing except my close friends. And out of that one, idea came for this kind of platform where people could be freely writing and expressing themselves. Of course, the idea evolved over the time. It was not as I imagined it at the beginning, and yeah. So back to starting point of this idea and first steps which we made, as we learned from last startup, that we somehow went straight into the battle and coding. This time we wanted to take a different approach. We wanted to apply the lessons which we learned on the previous startup. So we created for Plenum, we created initial prototypes and designs. And we were at that time in Tershouse co-working space, and we took like, I don't know, 15, 20 random people, and we gave them the prototypes. and after that one, basically we got the feedback. Most of it was positive, that people would would like to read it, to consume it, and that would be something differently. Of course, they had particular questions, how this is going to be handled, who is going to write what, will there be censorship or stuff like that. And then Maida is joining Sunray. At this particular moment, we released first startup, and our second plenum was starting up. And Maida joined us in Sunray with helping with the QA role on last startup, and with in mind that she's gonna be project manager on Plenum. How was this first steps was looking for you, Maida?
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about that PM role in one of the podcasts with employees that we recorded few months ago, and I have never thought about being project manager in my life. I have never thought about project management and at all. And the first time when I heard the idea that I could possibly be good fit for that role was on the interview with you guys. And I think I started to investigate about PM actually after coming to Sunray. And I know that I've worked only for 2 weeks, I think, and then I got like documentation from you guys about Plenum, and you ask about my feedback. And I know that I was reading some document about Plenum. It was along with feedback of other co-workers at Tershouse, and also there was feedback from our employees as well. Some suggestions, idea, and I particularly remember that moment when you asked for my thoughts as well. So I wrote some idea, like my opinion, etc., etc. There was a lot of things in that document that really catch my attention. And
What was those things? Can you remember? I don't even remember.
it was a profit share.
Between the
yes.
authors and
Yes.
the platform, yeah.
It's like, okay, we have profit, but we will share with authors at the same time, like, like equal.
50-50, 50%
right.
as an investor in the platform,
Yes.
and everything, marketing, business model and stuff, and the 50% is going to be shared between authors.
And the second part was to kind of not integrate social media, but got idea from social media and to try to do it on Plenum, like what's popular now on TikTok, Instagram, and that's feed.
Yeah.
You can choose, do you want general or personal feed, and on personal feed, of course, you can choose your interest.
And we forgot to mention these two things when explaining Plenum in the first place, so it's good that you mentioned it.
So yeah, we have 2 feeds. I mean, we will have it. And
can you elaborate more? Feed, it's like normal Instagram, TikTok, right? View where you scroll and ingest.
Yes, we took idea from Instagram, TikTok. I know that at some time we were looking how YouTube looks, LinkedIn. So personal feed is like integration of all social medias, but it's kind of what's popular now, and it's scrolling and also choosing like what you want to read.
Yeah, it was Fakhrudin's idea, the
Really?
co-founder on Saloon. Yes, he basically gave that idea of using the feed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I remember now.
And you also, when you gave me those documents, you mentioned that I could possibly be project manager for this project. At that time, I was part-time.
Yes.
And I needed to finish some paperwork with my university in order to be full-time. And I know that it made me a little bit pressure, like I wanted to be project manager on this project because it's like beginning from the scratch. And it was really interesting. It's interesting for me, like to start from nowhere, right?
Yeah, definitely. And afterwards, we went to a company, let's say, meeting in Blagaj, where we pulled the strings there, and we collected feedback basically from whole company, and we made some plan. What are the first exact steps that we are going to take further? that we can prepare as much as we can for the development, so people can start developing the idea, and that we move in that direction, let's say. Yeah, but we were pumped by this positive feedback from the people. It was definitely something new, and I want to emphasize this profit share. Definitely, we forgot to mention to you about Plenum. It's going to be specific. We already implemented the algorithm for it, and algorithm for tracking the authors, and it's, let's say, which we can mention later, for its, let's say, quality of authors. Then we are going to give different profit margin for each of the categories. And I remember at that point, when we came back from Blagaj, we got some questions inside our head, and main question was for us: okay, if you are not going to have censorship, if you are not going to have an editor like in normal portals, somebody who looks all over the text and approves either or disapproves the text. So we needed to kind of resolve the problem of basically not having person assigned to let's say go over these texts which authors are going to write. So we were speaking about this problem. We need to, I don't know, prohibit. We don't want that everybody writes, and we couldn't, let's say, figure out the idea how and what. And the guy from other company turned to us and told to us, so why you don't go to Faculty of Journalism here in Sarajevo? You could find there proper, let's say, journalists who are at the starting point of their careers, and get them involved so they can start working for you guys. So, and first steps were made that we go to faculty and present them these prototypes, this documentation, what we had, and a vision which we had for Plenum. Can you maybe speak about that one bit?
Yeah, I would like to go back to team building event and something that we forgot to mention. Our idea with startup was, okay, we have one startup, but the next one will be the better one. And that was idea to emphasize on that team building event in Blagaj. And I'm thinking about this now, and like the schedule for that team building event was awesome, because one day we were doing recap of our first startup saloon, and then the other day was like planning for Plenum. And I almost forgot how many things we had at that moment. Like Team Tech had something like it. They did some technical background, right?
Yeah, we were entering into the blockchain and stuff like that.
Yeah, we also have design prototype for Plenum, and I remember that we had really heated discussion during event. And fun fact, it was the first discussion, like really heated conversation,
around what?
To experience. It was about like other employees were stating that we went in the opposite direction of what initial plan for Plenum was. Like I cannot remember the specific details, but they were stating that, okay, this is not Plenum about which we were talking about, I don't know, months ago. And I wasn't there. And I know it was pretty much heated. You got so emotional, but it was at least productive because we were discussing about potential names for Plenum, but somehow Plenum was from the beginning. Yeah, we couldn't find catchy name, and we also named name of categories.
At that moment.
Yes, and we still have them.
I also maybe remember one part which let's say, got to my mind, that the guys were not at first for this idea at all. Even Sandy, if I remember, he was quoting, it's not something that I believe in, but yes, if we do not have better idea, we are going with this one. And definitely the guys in the company, it was not so believing at the beginning, definitely for them.
Especially because of situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina about medias.
Yes, and globally in the world, definitely. And how we will find these people and everything, which we now mentioned, how we started to find them out.
But we knew action points after that meeting, as you mentioned. We went to faculty. I know that I didn't go for the first visit, I know that other colleague, Amila, who was a designer on Plenum, and also I think Karim was like coaching Amila with design. And as far as I remember, it was really positive feedback from that professor. And she also like said that she will collaborate with us when we would have something. And I think it was September, right?
Yeah, so October.
In the
maybe.
meantime, we started with. Did we start with?
Coding, yes.
Coding,
We already
yes.
started at that point with
Yes.
the coding, setting up. the
Yeah, and
DevOps
I
part.
also became full time, so I officially became project manager.
QA on our last startup,
Yes.
and on the new startup you were QA and
PA.
PM.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And then we were starting the programming and everything. And what was thing why we decided to go to that Blagaj gathering company, that we somehow regroup and see what we have achieved in previous, and that we can remember those things, put them down on the paper so we can start using them in podcast. Podcast was also our internal, this one, which you are listening. First preparations were done on that
Yes.
on that meeting where we did the recap of everything. Yeah, and as you mentioned, bunch of new things were happening in the company. We were experiencing our second bigger growth in company. This was it moment. Ending first, let's say first startup going to market, second startup starting with the from idea to coding, and then this growth path, and then going to the University of Journalism, and let's say stating some kind of cooperation with them. And this professor was really amazed, and then they mentioned us few things that we could cooperate with them on a level that that the journalist will have, let's say, written internship if they work for Plenum. That was for year and a half, let's say, in October 2022, I think.
Yes.
And then after that one, Maida was appointed as a PM QA. We started the coding and everything. Then the point came where I asked you, Maida, to collect the feedback of journalists.
Yes.
We wanted to validate that part of idea. Do you remember how they responded and what was the feedback from them, basically?
I know that I contacted a lot of journalists, and I also focus on other professors from other departments, not other departments, but departments of journalism, but from other university across the Bosnia and Herzegovina. And professors had a really good feedback to us. They thought that it's really interesting, and they stated that Plenum is something that they should, they would recommend to their students. But something that was really interesting with, for example, journalists, and feedback that we got from them is that almost all of them were like, the only concern that they had, it was financial aspect on Plenum, and it was always like hard to explain how we will got money and how we will
And how
share.
are we going to do the profit share?
And the second concern was, I know that even one of I think it's woman and also professor, she has concerns about name of our platform, like people will get confused with something else. But we also get really objective feedback from almost all of them, and I would say that many of them, like on the first, they were interested to maybe write in the future on Plenum.
Yeah, definitely. And then when we got also this, let's say, kind of feedback, we got the collected the feedback from faculty. We got the positive news. I remember now that I promised that we are going to regularly be seeing each other with the updates of the project, and we were quite optimistic, and we were promising to them something around, let's say, June till August, that we are going to be alive with the Plenum, which was
guess what?
quite optimistic at that moment. Yes, we are going to do it in August,
Yeah.
but 2 years later. No,
Yeah,
year and a
too
half.
late.
Year and a half later.
And I think that we are like from the beginning, we just mentioning the students, but we never like we didn't explain why we were focused on students. I can remember one moment when you came back from the university and you were amazed by the fact that there are students from journalism department and then they don't have anything
Yeah, they
to
don't
do.
have.
Like they don't have
They
some
don't have portal to write. They don't have
nothing.
newspapers to write. It's like you are going to faculty and never seeing, let's say, never trying out your job, how it will be looking like.
Yes.
Except on a piece of paper, like let's say homework or something like that, and giving to professor. Nothing real. You couldn't be doing internship. And the other problem was if you do internship inside the companies here in Bosnia, you are definitely not gonna get a chance to
Yes.
be writing articles, especially on your own name, and you are not gonna get the chance of, I don't know, recording some videos or doing any kind of proper journalist job. So yeah.
And then we said, okay, we are putting focus on them. And I think that was really great idea, like to give them space and opportunity to see how their future life will
Yeah,
look
and if you
alike.
remember when Mahir told us, why don't you go to the journalist? I was really happy immediately. I knew that he hit
Yeah.
that one, what are we, let's say, seeking for, to the solution to our problem about the censorship and letting everybody to write on our platform.
And
It
only
was
one
eureka moment.
question changed.
Yes, change the path of whole
Yes.
let's say, startup. At least for the starting up period of the plenum. And then we were doing our authorization and authentication flow. There was one
My
develop-
favorite topic.
Yeah, your epic. Yeah, but we skipped a bit. Me and Maida were defining the documentation. Maida was leading from the beginning, but I gave her, like, I don't know, we together came up with 10 epics, which are 10 building blocks of our, let's say, of our platform, where I, again, what I did at the beginning, which I didn't mention, I contacted one guy here from Sarajevo, Dino, which is let's say my friend who has experience in building up portals. Many of them in Bosnia, biggest ones were done by him. So I went to him and asked basically for the advices. What kind of things do we need to consider? I don't know what kind of third-party libraries we need to check. What about the commercial? What is valid for commercial? We got needed software from Slovenia. There were a few points which I found out from him. If I didn't ask that feedback, we will be definitely missing that part in production. So that I think we did a good job at the beginning, Maida, with collecting all the feedback from different sides.
Yes.
And that gave us also the push and validated our idea and pumped our motivation, which in next period. So let's say in January we were developing. You were doing with Senad. How was? Do you remember maybe that part? Let's say December and January with working with Senad, and.
Yeah, I remember that at that time there was 3 of us. It was one developer, one designer, and me. And also we had like support from all 3 sides. Like there was one person for designer, there's one person for me, also for Senat. And it was, I think at that point, like almost all of the people in the company were included in Plenum at like in some way. And I know that I had Ahmed as my lead.
On Saloon.
Yeah, on Saloon, but also on Plenum.
Really?
Yes, like we had weekly meetings. And
Plenum.
Yes, and if I would have any problem, like we should fix it, but at the end we always went to you guys. And I remember one specific moment, it was 2 monthly planning.
Yes.
And we were supposed to do detailed planning for 2 months. Like basically we should know what we're gonna do for every week. And then we did something. Now I'm embarrassed to say that that was the plan that we did. And I know that we that plan we gave you guys, you saw it, and then you scheduled a meeting with all of us, and you said, this is not good, this is not how you're gonna do 2 monthly planning, you should do it like this, and then we had meeting of 3 hours.
I remember when you
yes.
started the authorization epic and
Yes.
how
How we should plan.
how optimistically and not well documented properly you started to do work, and then I jumped in and showed you
and explain us how we
on
should
a
do
table.
it in the future.
I draw how to plan properly the epic and how you missed, I don't know, let's say 40% of things.
Maybe even more.
And maybe even more. And even I told you I will be missing something, and I was missing some
Yes.
things when I was planning with detail. I remember that moment now.
But it was really overwhelming for me. And I know that I called you on one-on-one meeting and I said, I cannot do it. This is not for me. I'm giving up.
And I didn't give
Yeah,
you.
you didn't.
Yeah,
You really motivated me, and it's like you should not give up. It's like basically, Maida, your first struggle. Like
And
you will have it more in the future. And I think as my growth as project manager became, I got it started from that moment. But it was, I would say, messy at the beginning. Also, it was the first experience for developer to do coding. My first experience for project manager. At that time, we had designer, but that designer was part-time actually. Amila had a client at the same time, and it really.
But she left, if you remember, regarding the designs and everything, that we wanted to be something specific, that we wanted to be
Yes.
different, and that she came out with few quite nice ideas around the envelope, and our whole styling was basically, let's say, driven by that direction which she gave. Also, Kerim was doing the prototypes at the beginning, and later on we will discuss. He also brought the product on a much higher level. Maybe we were doing this. Let's say we planned the out epic and everything, and we were closing down till the end that first epic. And I remember that we experienced one more growth in the company. We employed 2-3 persons, and one of them came to Plenum. I think it was Dean at that moment.
Yes.
And that in, let's say, March, April, May, we were, let's say, finished authorization epic. We started categories.
And even more art.
We started add article and stuff like that. And for 3-4 months, you were somehow a bit alone because we have, I especially had different obligations, and we gave obligations. When I saw that it's too much for me, I gave obligations to Sandy in February, but also Sandy got stuck in his obligations and problems which he didn't counted at that moment. He was doing some kind of rewrite for the client, and that was eating most of his time. I was dealing here with the new people and the team structure at that moment, introducing few new things to the company at that moment, and I somehow we left Plenum by side. And
all of us.
Yeah, we had some kind of different priorities. Plenum should be working, and it was worked on, but somehow people were left alone, those who were working on, and those people didn't actually communicated with us that they have any problems and anything like that. And
yeah, I can remember that moment. It lasted for maybe, I don't know, I would say even half of the year. It was messy for a really long time, and I think
from February till August, I think, something like that.
Yes, and I think everything started with Senad and Amila went to another client. So I lost fully one developer and designer. And as you mentioned, we had growth at that time, so we got a new developer. But the thing is, that developer was part-time. So that means...
No, he was full-time. No, he was part-time at the beginning. Yes,
so
you're
that
right.
means only few hours focused on Plenum. Also at that time, I got 2 clients, I think.
Yeah, you started working on higher basis.
Yes, and then colleagues came. And of course, on other different company sides, I was as well. And we always had something. Something would always happen, and it would be always something priority. And I'm not saying that it was the right approach at that time, but we always put like the lowest priority was on Plenum.
Plenum, yes.
Even when we had growth and the new developer would join the company, the first place where that developer would be assigned, it would be Plenum.
Yes.
So always, I mean, at some point we would lose onboarding moment with those developers. And I know that we had case with Amar, and he was on Plenum for 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, yeah.
So that's not enough time to do anything. And as you said, lack of motivation, lack of support that I had at that time. Like I believe that we were not speaking about Plenum
At all,
anymore.
no,
like
because we had different focus.
yes, different topics
new
in the
client onboarding. We are
office.
focused on that one, and there were a lot of problems because previous company there was doing a, let's say, lousy job, and we needed to fix that one. We needed to build up the trust which the client lost in previous agency, and it was a mess, definitely, but we managed to grasp that one. And yeah.
And I don't know how we came with the idea to employ another project manager, and it was kind of relief moment for me. And I thought, okay, maybe Plenum will get more attention at this time. And
I know how we got it, because if you remember, you were still PM, and I'm not sure why there were a few situations with one person who was working there. So the person would be telling, "Oh, going back to Plenum to work, yes, yes." And I was looking, why is he so happy for working on the Plenum, but when working on a client, I don't see same enthusiasm and happiness on the face. And later on, I'm not sure, there was one more situation with, I was seeing
PR.
merging PRs without tech lead approval or anything, doing basically freely whatever developer wants. And that was a red flag for me. I immediately collected people. Come here. What are we doing? Where are we doing? What is doing tech lead? What is doing this one, this one, this one? And I realized that we messed up.
at every front.
Yes, that we messed up a lot, that we put focus on clients. Yes, the focus should be there, but at least we could earlier, let's say, react and employ persons. We immediately started somehow. It got like you recommended Amina, new PM. Rehan, I have a possible PM, passionate and everything. So yes, okay, bring it in, and then we employed Amina with the idea that she takes over from you the PM role, that you support her during this process, and this was part where we basically then started to think also about employing some developers.
Yeah, but before that, it was, I would say, incident. It's not incident, but like situation that we had. My task was to onboard Amina, and I did it. And I think that you scheduled a meeting with Amina and developer at that time, then to see what is done and to plan things for the future. And then chaos happened.
Oh, yeah.
We would have, I mean, it's also my responsibility as PM and QA from that time. And we said that authorization and authentication at Epic, yes, is fully done. But for example, you need to go to login page, you need to set proper URL. Yes, like nothing was working, and also other epics as well that we had at that time. It was, I think, add article and categories. And after that,
basically, we had an app, we had the screens, but nothing was interconnected. And I realized also there was one other miss. Team Tech was doing, at the beginning, we wanted to go in front and let's set up the DevOps part. We set up the DevOps part and we throw it away. It was not worth of it. It was not finished till the end. So basically, we did not have nothing. We had...
but we spent too much time.
Too much time on it. We had nothing. We had, let's say, 80% of screens properly done on out Epic. We started something around categories, only started, nothing interconnected. We started something on that article, nothing interconnected. But it was good moment, definitely. I got angry, definitely, but we immediately took actions. We immediately started with employing new developers, and we started to plan. And the first, of course, for me, thing was responsibility around this one, and
Yes,
you took
yes.
it nicely and seriously as we should be doing. Okay, Rehan, I'm fault definitely for that one, but also we need to take into consideration this. And I had problems with developer. No, it was I
Not
was
only
doing.
developer, but all
Yeah,
other members in the
we
team.
yes, nobody was taking responsibility for it. And then I took over back in charge of leading the plenum from let's say founder and PO side, let's say.
Just to mention, like, sorry for interrupting you. You were not like, of course, you were angry because it happened what happened, but you were more angry because no one would take responsibility for
Yes.
their part, and that's what
Made
piss
me
you
mad,
off
definitely.
the most. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to make mistakes. Maybe it's better to make on our startup, not to screw up somewhere else with client. And of course, it would be better if we learn this lesson on some other way. But I know that we had really tough period with taking responsibility at that time. And also, it kind of pissed me off because I can say open and directly. I mean, it was, of course,
And you
embarrassing
didn't-
moment for
there was
me.
no, let's say, discussion afterward
Yeah.
when you accept the responsibility. What
You
I can tell
accept it
you.
and you going like, and you know
Let's
that
fix it.
you
Let's
will
fix
not
it. How?
repeat it
Yeah.
once again.
But most of the guys, I remember now, even we had a meeting there.
Yes.
No, it was due to that one, due to that one, due to the first starting with the excuses, and then possibly at the end, some of them were stating, "But there is a bit of my fault."
Yeah.
But yeah, and after that moment, it somehow, let's say, that responsibility. From that moment, somehow we learned it through the company and tried to explain what kind of responsibility we want here in the company and why it's important to accept it really and then to focus on actions instead of on focusing for excuses
Yes.
and then on some potential
Yeah.
actions, which sounds really demotivating, and it is demotivating to approach the way like it is. So yeah, I took the role of PO and we immediately employed new persons and we started to let's fix everything what leftovers from the behind and move in a, let's say, further direction.
And at that point, we had like only people who would be focused on Plano, all developers, and PM and QA as well. And we made a really good action points, and also we were more strict with process, and also we established some process because of that
Yes.
situation that we had. And more people, I will not say that more people, but like we spent more time to be included in Plenum after that situation. Team tech, then you jump in. And then I was always, I think that I was supposed to be support for Amina as other PM in the company. And everything was on more serious level
Definitely.
compared to the past.
Yeah, and I got involved more a bit. I think I was explaining how to do proper planning again, even if I explained you at the beginning. I did not add article. I'm not sure which more epic. How to properly plan an epic together with a team of developers. What kind of questions you need to ask. What kind of, let's say, edge cases we can find and to document them so that we implement feature as much as we can properly. And again, at the end, to educate people how to do that one, which is one of the purposes why are we doing our internal startups is to educate our people properly, to give them a chance at the start of career to work on real projects. Yeah, we had two developers. I remember one promise which I gave at that moment, which was 9 months ago. When Damir Todic came, I told he's not gonna leave Plenum until the release. Now it's the release and he's still in Plenum. He will be the only developer if everybody leaves on a client or some kind of duty. That one person needs to be there.
Dedicated.
Dedicated with a full knowledge, everything, and that it can support if we onboard new people to Plenum, which happened. At the end, we onboarded one more developer,
Yeah.
third one in December, which was there. And why I needed to explain to new person the planning, we had problems. Of course, the Amina didn't had needed proper experience in IT and everything, so we needed to explain her like how to do planning
Yeah.
at the beginning, and it was tough for her. Immediately, you are coming to a new role for PM, and in a, let's say, hot atmosphere. I would say it like that, and third person on board. And I remember now also, Maida, we had problem with designer at some
Yeah.
point. As you mentioned, Amila went to a client to work to the client, and we needed the designer. Kerim was not also free at that moment. So Fatima, the newly joiner in marketing, she had some experience with the graphic designs, but not with the UI UX. But she served as a great help to help us out that we let's say manage with what we have.
Yeah.
What we have. And I think that she also did a great job for at least giving the team the proper tickets needed to be which were needed to be prepared for the developers. And that Fatima's push gave us momentum that we do not stop and wait for the designs. I remember approving some things, even which were not good, let's say, for my level of quality, which I want. And there were some really quite nice positives which I saw from
Yeah,
her
of course.
over there. Yeah. Then
I know. I think that at that time, PMQA team was founded, and in the beginning of this year, right? You went on a long vacation, and when you came back, you said, "Okay, I'm on all sides. Like I cannot do it anymore. Someone needs to replace me." And then I became like lead of PM and QA team, and that means that I should be the main support for Amina.
PM side,
yes. We had PM and QA team before. I think we established even
November,
when
I
she
think.
came.
November, no, not
Yes,
when she came. After,
when she joined.
after first
Yeah,
few
maybe at the
problems
end
which
of
we
the
had
year.
with the PM, then we started.
Yes, and I know like we had meetings every week. You were there, and I would say progress from higher basis are another client,
And she would be seeing
yes.
progress from Plenum.
And that's the only connection that I had at that time with Plenum, like hearing what she has to say. But now it's a little bit bigger responsibility, and I think that responsibility had been grown from January, from the beginning of this year, right? If I cannot
because
remember.
we finished the higher basis, we did the
Yes.
redesign and new features. The client decided to stop implementing new features. Just we are going to do the maintenance
Yeah.
for them, and the team got, let's say, shredded a bit there. And we got you free
Yeah.
for 4 hours, let's say, daily. Then we started to do more involvement.
Yeah.
And with this PM team, and even a bit from your side, starting, let's say, to involve a bit more into the plenum.
But I'm not sure that I handle it very well in the beginning, because I left Plenum in a really bad state, and then it took me a long time to catch up the things, and also like to learn velocity of each developers.
But I need to say something where I was amazed with you. Okay, you did, let's say, lousy job on the Plenum, but higher basis, the client which we took, where you had your first client PMQA experience, I was amazed how much you grasped the knowledge, and what is quite important for me. I was trying to transfer you that one when leading a team from that perspective. What are few key points which you need to be taking care of, which then affects the client? And even at some point, at the beginning, I was always communicating with the client, proposing new features and everything. Then, if you remember, even at the end, I was giving you a chance to communicate directly with the client, and you did it good. You and the team also did a good job there. We had some problems, of course, as always, but it was manageable, and it was solvable, and it was good at the end.
But then it became my responsibility to all knowledge and skills to transfer to Amina so that she would be able to handle at that time team of 3 developers plus designer, and I'm not sure how much well I did it. I had struggles in the beginning, but from this year I had started to be more included in the plenum, and I will talk maybe a little bit later
Yeah,
how
but
I ended.
I'm telling you, first lousy, then second one good, then you need to transfer the knowledge. Of
Yeah.
course, it will be hard.
Yeah.
Maybe lack of confidence, doubts in your knowledge, doubts in yourself, which are not, I would say, which there was no need for that one, at least in your case, and you had it in place. But I know how hard it is, definitely, to try to transfer knowledge, because you tend to do everything perfectly to be good, but then at the end it's a startup, it's a mess. You need to expect mess. You need to be prepared for the mess. You need to be prepared for the actions, take them, and yeah, it's hard to grasp all of these things. But yeah, later on, I would say you collected your mind, and I think especially in the last period, it was really, at least for me, helpful that you took over some things.
Thank you.
In January, okay, Rifat is joining. We are having the development of a bunch of features. Rifat is joining, and we are planning to start the algorithm parts for the top-rated authors, for metrics, which is following authors' likes, comments, shares, visit duration on the page view, scrolling position on the article, and shares and opens from shares and stuff like that. It was quite complex thing to do. And
You were involved from the beginning
yeah,
in
from the
that
beginning, I
process.
tried to give to them ownership. I think 1 month passed, we didn't do anything, basically, or a month and a half. And then I decided to jump in. It was the problem here was it was too complex thing. You cannot start just working on a too complex thing with having everything in front of you placed on a table that you know all the details. And the guys were trying to focus on bigger picture, all the details. Okay, you need to have a sense of bigger picture. What
you need to
are
have
you doing?
vision, but
Yes, but you need to do from that bigger picture to
Steps,
step
little
by step. Yeah, and the thing which I did was only navigating them step by step. Okay, we need first this one. Okay, until next meeting, bring me this one. Until that next meeting, we are going to do this part. We are going to have these properties. Okay, when we have these properties in place, when we have infrastructure set for the algorithms, which is kind of different service, different database, how are we going to connect that database to Plenum database, and stuff like that. And this process was like 6 months almost. We needed to finish the algorithms. And as I stated, the main problem for the guys was clarify the image during the stairs, each one by one. They focused on a higher level picture. And the big thing also, beside Maida, beside the algorithms, with Rifat, newly joined guide, immediately got the hot potato. We finally, as higher bases dropped, we got Kerim. So we got Kerim back for the designs. And I remember going on a vacation and everything. I also left you with some kind of, let's say, things which you need to do and take care of. And we started the redesign phase of, not redesign completely, but doing design in a proper way, I would say. Because Karim took over the designs and he took the base, but basically re-implemented the designs with a proper, let's say, design way of working.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of problems in the beginning with these design things, and developer wanting to do something like that, something different. In some cases, I gave them, let's say, a green light, but in most of cases, I didn't, because I was leading a product where I had a vision.
Yeah, you
how
were
it-
kind of product owner.
product owner and founder,
Yeah.
co-founder at the glance, and it was, let's say, hard to grasp all of this one.
And in that period, we also made design for, I would say, core value of Plenum, and it was personal feed. And I know that we spend a lot of time
that
on
one.
finding a proper design.
Yeah.
So
The redesign I was planning at the beginning, it would take one and a month half, I think
but
month
I
and a
think
half.
took more.
But it took 3 months. But I don't regret it because the Kerim also did amazing job there. I told him I expected from you sooner, but at the end when I saw how he approached the component-based approach with design and everything, how he handled whole design system around that one, I was really satisfied at the end with the Kerim performance. Despite at the beginning first 2-3 weeks I was like pissed and dissatisfied with the performance because of some other reasons, but at the end I was really satisfied at the how the
With
design was
quality.
looking on. One of the problems were at the beginning also if you remember Google ads, which we needed quite period to fix it. And
But we fixed it.
yeah, we fixed it. It was
But
matter
week
of-
ago, right?
Yeah, we could.
It took us 6 months.
Yes, everything was something else. Something else. We
Yeah.
need. I don't know. We need a server. Then after the server, it cannot be. It can be done on Heroku. No, it cannot. Okay, it cannot. Let's build the production. Then we built the production. Oh, you need some more things. Some more things. It was just matter of pushing properly till the end things and doing removing block by block in front
Yes.
of yourself. Yeah, and then in February we finally wanted to like this Google Ads pushed us to make a production pretty
Yeah.
much sooner, and
And also another developer joined Plenum. The
I
fourth
mentioned
one,
Rifat.
right? No, Ahmed.
Ahmed, but he joined. Yeah, you're right. When Hybase is finished, he
Yes.
joined for a few month and a half maybe,
Yeah, I
and we
think-
immediately switched him to another
Yes,
client.
yes.
But yeah, we had a 4 developer
Yes.
working on a plane.
And still they had enough work
Yes.
to do it. 4 developers. Yeah.
Yeah, I even forgot, Maida, that we had
Yeah.
4 developers at one moment.
And
So the team was 4 developers, PM, QA,
designer. Yeah, and
And-
also you need to count Team Tech as
Team Tech
support.
was
yourself,
providing and yourself,
me.
Maida. Also, Team Tech was providing. It's good that you mentioned they were providing support for PRs and helping out to pass around the technical obstacles, which we find out,
And we had 2 tech leads. Plenum.
which were assigned to
Yes.
Plenum. Yeah, and then when we went to production, Maida, we started again to contact faculty, right?
Yes. Let me try to remember.
March, I think it was March.
Yes, we contacted the first professor, I think, from the beginning, and as far as I know, she was interested, but she didn't have time, right, to support us.
And she gave us second contact,
Yes.
I think.
That second contact, as far as I know, is also the second professor
Yes.
of our visit in the beginning. And then I'm
So
not sure.
a year passed basically from since our last contact.
No,
Year and
more than year.
more than a year.
Yes, year and a half. And I'm not sure, did we go to the faculty or we just contact her and she
No,
gave
no, no.
us...
I think we went. We went there and decided what to do because we went to speak up there. I think if I remember well. So the production pushed us. Okay, we are coming to the end of the development and everything phase. So we need to present this to the students, and we communicated. I don't remember clearly with
Me
some
neither.
professor. I think it was from second year professor. We went on the last.
Yeah,
Last
last floor.
yes, last floor. You, me, Amina, I think we were there, and we were talking about okay, we are soon releasing and stuff like that. And
And she
they-
just said, okay,
okay, I'm for it. You can present it. And I asked then to whom I can speak about the internship. So we have a deal,
memorandum, yes.
memorandum that we signed memorandum with Faculty of Journalism. So she gave us also those hints, and then she gave us first. You communicated by email to her. Remember now, and you appointed meetings.
Yes, with
sessions.
students. And we had, I think, 3 sessions, right? 3 meetings with students, and it was from first year, second, and the third one, right? What was the interesting part about that Hamza, I mean, our video and photography department, this guy here, he recorded all session, and I can remember that first session with students was really emotional for me. Of course, in a positive way, because it was really nice to see that something that you worked so many months is coming to the end, and then people like who really don't know you, and from that specific field on which we focus, like gave you a really good feedback. And they interest to be part of Plenum story. I wasn't part of all meetings. I think I missed one, but I know that like I would feel like all emotions when I was there and listening what students are saying to us. And as I mentioned, we recorded that session, and that session helped us later in this period to send to other students to watch it, and also to give feedback. But we had really good feedback. I'm not sure did we change something specifically big after receiving feedback from them.
I changed the way of I was presenting. I immediately went home and did a review of video and myself, how I was present there and how was I explaining good to them. The idea was to include them in Q&A session. In the first session, I was, let's say, speaking about the plenum for around 30 minutes, and 30 minutes was Q&A session. And the thing which pumped me emotions, and I was so, let's say, motivated, that out of, I'm not sure, 33 students, 16, 17 one was raising their hands that they would write on plenum. This pumped my motivation, my energy, and definitely it was win. We had positive feedback. We had some also negative feedback, which was good for me.
But what's interesting that different type of feedback we would receive from different years. I know that you mentioned that the third year of students was the
scariest one.
Yeah,
Can you
more
protect
strict.
us? We want censorship. We want. Editor in our newspapers, but why? Do you want to be free? Do you want to write what you want? They were, most of them were afraid basically of having that they would be attacked by political some kind of people who are, let's say, not just political, who are powerful, and that nobody will be in their protection.
Compared to the first year of students who were really hyped up and full of enthusiasm.
Energized, giving ideas and critics. There was one girl which was, I don't believe in this one. And I don't believe in this one. And I wanted that I hear definitely the critical thinking, because on critical thinking you can see new possibilities for improving the product, either improving the presentation. But that probably maybe even stuck me. Did I explain her well what the plenum is? And probably stuck me to that I will take a look at the how I did the presentation itself.
So you were questioning your presentation, not plenum.
Probably. Yeah. But plenum from the start, I'm believing. I'm believing it from when the idea came to moment that it's something different. And especially with these points like profit share, the feed, the algorithm, personalized reading, and authors who are really writing their articles, not copy-paste from other portals or news sources. And on second year, we changed the approach. We immediately start with asking questions that we see the problem in the industry, and that they answer those questions. And it was a really, really amazing presentation, I remember. Third year, as you mentioned, there were questions Okay, who is going to protect me? They were not enough believing in us, I would say, and let's see, maybe they will join.
Yeah, they will change their minds.
Yeah, their
and join
minds
us.
when we bump Plenum
Yep.
to higher levels.
So after presentation with Plenum, I think that things got heated because, of course, we
got needed momentum.
Yes, we are planning to release, and that means to make Plenum as much perfect as much as is possible. And I think that we are still in that phase. I know that after meetings with students, you went on another vacation, I think, and you gave like 3 features for developers. And as far as I know, those 3 features are the last one in the first version, and now
yes.
we are fully focused
Before
on
the release.
Yes.
The funny thing, yeah, as we got pumped and with needed energy and got motivated, we immediately start the work on the marketing side, preparing the release of the Plenum and all in that we are in a quite good shape with the releasing stuff. And initial plan was that we go in June releasing, and because
I think
of
that
my
initial
vacation,
plan was to go in the last year, right?
Yes, last year, June. Then we told June this year. And then because of my vacation, we told, okay, let's do it in August. Not strictly which date and everything. And then we planned those features as I got feedback from the PM that we are done, that we do not have anything to work on, that we are complete. Okay, I'm for it. We had a meeting. Okay, 2-3 new features. Okay, I'm for it. Let's do it. And then when I came back from vacation, we went to Berlin for visiting a client.
Yeah.
Then there I noticed something weird with the code base, and noticed something weird with the, not quite immediately with the testing, but with the code base, that we were missing some things, that we had, let's say, time, but we were not doing refactoring of old code, which we now have a bigger knowledge around it, and we can, with the help of senior tech leads, we can refactor it and make it better, and nobody was doing that one. And when I came from Berlin, I remember I gathered the team, and when I was asking questions, how did you test these 3 features which I gave, I was always getting like one answer, one level of answer. Did you test this one? No. Did you test the logged out user? No. Did you test it with that one? No. Okay, that pumped my curiosity. How is this happening? I asked the developers, same from their side. They were, let's say, I would not say doing the happy path, but not taking few steps more to test it properly. Then I asked for all previous features, because algorithms were already at the end, and all that story was going to closing state. I asked few questions there. How did you test this one? How did you test it as a QA this one? And I saw that we have a problem there, that we didn't test that thoroughly. Then I started a bit clicking. Then I saw that we have a quite big problems. Then I went with the PM, discussed these things with the team, and it was, let's say, hard at the beginning to grasp it. And I told them, okay, let's release this to production, and let's all move to testing phase, that we see the actual state.
Emergency situation.
And 3 or 4 weeks from that one, we are still fixing bugs, and we were at the state where everything is done. But then we needed to, because of our PM, let's say, some health issues and some, let's say, issues with leading the team from the PM side were not good. So I appointed Maida back as a PM in the 2 weeks. And I think we are now, and what also pumped me, that I didn't felt the motivation from developer side. I didn't felt the will to build up things, to go that step more. And I was pissed, not just inside the plenum, to be honest, inside the whole company. And I was pointing that for 2 months on management meetings, starting from me, and then from management, and then from the bottom level, the people who were, let's say, doing the work. And how is this period for you? How it grasped you, Maida?
I was on sick leave for 2 weeks, and like when I came back, like, what's happening? This is not Plenum, which was like 2 weeks ago when I was there. So when I came back on Monday, it was full of surprise. Like I'm seeing developers testing, and I'm like, "What's happening? QA is supposed to do
Crazy,
this one.
right?
Like, why are you testing?" And then I had meeting with you, and you listed me all of these things. And I mean, I'm taking responsibility for that part because I was leading Amina for some time, and I should solve those issues on the time. And of course, I felt sad because we didn't catch on the time. And
Well, we
really-
sensed them before a few months. I was
Yes,
talking
but
to
we
you.
didn't react.
We didn't react. I
Yeah.
told you, Maida, please, can you analyze? You did the you did analyze.
Yes, and I
you
was
saw
doing
some things,
some-
but we didn't saw the full
Yeah,
picture.
we didn't do
basically about
anything.
it. But we had a hunch that something is not.
Yes, it was about velocity of developers. And I checked, I think, progress of 2 months. And I also I made some document, but I think that we have never opportunities to sit down and together. And I'm not sure even did you read that document?
I read
Yes.
the document. We sat down here once and discussed a few things, but I don't know. We couldn't be discovering the quality of the code, and
Yeah.
then even I discovered that one with some again random communication. It was not related to code. That the quality of some things also in code was not done properly for me, and we already are preparing some refactorings which we are going to do to speed up the application itself.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
as I mentioned, I was on sick leave for 2 weeks, and when I came back here, I don't know, but somehow I was boosted. Like I was really hungry for work, and I was sad because of health issues that my colleague had at that time, and also for whole situation that happened. But I think that I got really big responsibility at that time, and that was to clean up some things on Plenum. And I was motivated to do that, and it's my second week of doing that. And I knew that I did some initiative last week, and it was also contacting professors from other university. And I know that I have small wins for me because I won some kind of stagnation before my sick leave, and I know that you will hype me up, complicated me, and that really boosts me. Like, okay, let's do even more. Something that you mentioned, like
Yes, I know. Doing the
Yes.
steps more for the
Yes.
sending the emails from random. Let's say I ask question. What about those professors from there? And we finished the meeting, and in morning I'm seeing the email, bam, bam, bam. And I was going to remind you, please, can you contact the students who are going to write on the platform? I'm
Done.
opening up email in the morning. It's done. Oh, Maida, thank you.
So we did some progress, I will say, in those 2 weeks. I mean, just to mention, we have the first content on our Plenum, like students already tried with writing up, but I'm not really satisfied with whole situation about Plenum, and that was the quality of all epics. It's really ridiculous to find bug of something that was done, as someone mentioned today, 18 months ago, and urgent bugs that are like, I cannot post or publish something, or it's not visible, like really something urgent and high. And it's really sad because you can find bugs every 50 minutes on
Yeah,
Plenum.
but-
I know it's not everything like urgent. It's not with high priority. It's things with I would say with low priority. But it's sad that we allowed to ourselves to be in this situation that we are now, because right now we are really tight with time, and we already know that we will release Plenum with many bugs, and we would not be able to fix everything. And I'm pretty much emotional to speak about this because it's happening right now. It happened today. We are still, and I'm going on vacation again next week. And I know that I will
The
be
best
worried
moment.
all the time what's happening with
worry.
I know that my colleague will do the great job.
Yeah.
But I'm too self-critical. I'm thinking every day what I could do better to prevent this, like what all of us can prevent this.
Yeah, I know. There were mistakes from all sides, basically.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know. One mistake was not for me. I was not including the Amina from the beginning in the algorithms part, which we were doing, and it was quite complex things. And I was, I don't know, pushing Rifat to document those things so they are prepared for testing. We had a huge problems with testing this one properly. They didn't have an idea. They had it, but happy path again. But it was quite complex thing to test. You need the authors, you need the articles, you need involvement, engagement in those articles, and then you need to calculate things properly. What are you entering into the system, and what are you expecting? And yeah, it was quite mess. But from one thing, the thing I liked why this happened, why they had a free hands. They saw what they do when they had a free hands. We didn't micromanage them. We didn't push them, and they ended up ending in that situation where they are. Why I like these situations when I reacted as I reacted to clean up this space, to make some let's say harsh decisions, to make some harsh conversations with them. I'm glad that situation changed, that they are pumped, that they are motivated, that they're pushed from that let's say state of let's say, do not have any worries in my mind, and I'm working on something. That we are now pumped, motivated, and pushing till the end. And still the good news are coming. We are getting more authors even in front of this one. There is potential big cooperation, which happened today, basically, when we are recording. Yeah, while we are recording this one, and a lot of positive things is happening. And in November, we are going to Web Summit with our startup. Hopefully with a proof of concept, with a startup who is having users, who is having authors, who is having money, cash flow inside the startup, which is quite important. And I'm looking forward to this period. And I would like this thing pop to my mind, Maida. When we released Alone, we experienced big growth regarding the employees. We got the new project, so I'm wishing now with this release that we again do the growth path, which we, I think, let's say, deserve it. But let's see. We're also doing some changes. Beside this Plenum, we are doing a bunch of things inside the company, transferring ownership to management part, and a lot of things is happening. A lot of teams are having their own leads and initiatives. So, yeah, exciting period in front of us.
Something that I would really like to be focused in the future after release of Plenum is maybe to focus more on action items, like what we could do better in the future, and like period of the time when we would recap like the whole process and whole that Plenum flow, I would say, and to have that talk about responsibility and not allowing to ourselves to happen what happened. But many things happy. I mean, I will say positive. Things will happen in 2 weeks, I think.
When we are going live.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the first users, to the first readers, and the first feedback that we will get. And I think that we didn't mention marketing campaign, but also everything that will came up with everything.
Yeah, we mentioned that they're planned.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing.
And this like Plenum episode is recapping of almost 2 years. No, 2 years. Half and
year and a half.
Year and a half.
This is why most of the companies do not do the startups. It's hard.
Yeah, I need to interrupt you. I didn't know, and you told me those. I mean, this amazing fact that only 70%
startups actually succeed to go out on the market, and then 1%, maybe even less, succeeds that becomes a company by itself and start to grow.
And look at us, like the team of young people with no experience. What we did, of course, we made mistakes. It's normal. We will learn, but I think that at the end of the day, we did a good job, and I think that this idea would be trend and
yeah, definitely. I would agree with you.
It will be something refreshing on our market.
Yeah, definitely. and we as a company are growing in this direction. We adopted the mistakes on first startup. We collected the mistakes, and in some moment even they were not mistakes. We didn't have funds for QA for PM. Now we had a QA PM.
Yeah.
We had half dedicated developers, and now we realized how much is it important to have dedicated person on a
Yes.
project. We grasped it now, but for the new startup, we are going to count on persons probably differently, probably prepare the work immediately
Different
differently, and of course to have somebody who is going to be there, who is going to lead them, who is going to motivate them, who is going to follow them, not micromanage, follow them, lead them, motivate them to a proper direction, and who is going to be able to declare and let's say make the vision of startup clear for them, and who is going to go step by step into a proper direction till the finish line. And what I'm also glad that we did this mistake, we immediately sat down, took our responsibility, and took down the actions. What are we going to do differently next? And of course, then absorb that knowledge for the next thing, next let's say challenges.
Yeah, and also the idea of startups in the Sunray was, as I said, the new one should be better than the previous one, but also
More complex one.
More complex, yes. And as if you compare, for example, Saloon and Plenum, you cannot doubt the complexity of this project, not only from development side, but also from process as project management, automation test, of course.
Yes.
We weren't that much consistent with writing, but we had it at the end. Metrics, etc.
Yeah, the algorithm part was really
Yes.
hard, which Saloon didn't have, but Saloon had a kind of complexity of being multi-platform from mobile, web. So they had that kind of complexity, but this complexity of, let's say, from the business side and this algorithms and metrics and everything was a bit more complex than Saloon. And especially this handling 4 or 5 people,
Yes.
and people leaving the startup, coming back, doing, not doing, then from high level, who is going to lead that in some kind of direction, who is going to make decisions, bad one, good ones, rotate the people, and stuff like that. It was a bumpy road, but I'm glad that we are coming to the release phase, and then new let's say painful stuff is coming, the business part. But yeah, we are going to do that with marketing, and I'm convinced that we can in next few months do some progress there.
So I'm really looking forward to the next period of Plenum, and of course of the company as Sunday.
Yes.
We will see.
Yeah. Thank you, Maida, and we are going to record second episode maybe in 3 to 6 months, and we are going to reflect what we did with the Plenum in 6 months, let's say, probably.
Yes, we will not wait for 1 year and
Definitely.
half. Thank you too, Reyhan.
Thank
It
you.
was
Bye-bye.
nice.